This is Jacob Nash with JNGL. That stands for Jacob Nash Geometry Lessons. Well, before I start with this lesson, I'm going to tell you about why I'm doing this, and it's because I took geometry and I really understood it, and I thought that I could just help other people by making these videos. A little bit about myself. Well, I'm from Arkansas. I go to Hall High School. Yes, I'm still in high school, so it's hard for me to find time to do this, but I'm still doing it. And so well, if you see this stuff's already written on here, well, that's because this is actually the fourth time I've recorded this, and the other times didn't work because it like muted 2 times, and then the other time the software froze and didn't save anything. And so you might not see this for only a few, if not one, video because it's really annoying. And if you hear a lot of clicking, that's because I'm using a computer to do this, and I might use a phone in the future. But anyways, um, basically, this lesson is just introducing geometry, and it's actually more about algebra review because that's what you'll need to know to do geometry. So I have split this up into E and R. Those are 2 different topics that I can do. E for equations and R for radicals, which are 2 things that I will show you. And I'm going exactly by the notes, so if you have the same teacher I did, then you know what? You might be doing the same thing. So, alright, here's what we did first. So I have 2 different examples. So this one, 5x equals 20. So you want to get x by itself. And if you don't understand this, then I'm sure there's some video out there. You can just look it up, but I'm not going to go into too much detail with this. But you divide, and then remember x equals 4. That's what you would do because 5 divided by 20 or 20 divided by 5 equals 4. Good. And this is just some review because you might have forgot. And when I took this, I hadn't had the class, and like I had it second semester, so I hadn't done it since June, and then it was like half a year later when I started doing it again. So, all right. Well, the other one, this is harder, and so what I did here is first you're gonna want to get the terms on the same side. So you subtract 5y, 5y, and you wouldn't subtract 9y. You could, but you might not want to because that would make negative 4y, and that would just kind of be more confusing. That's what I think. So then that you get 4y plus 11, and then equals 32. So then you want to subtract 11 by, and then you get 21 equals 4y, and then you divide by 4 to get y by itself, and then you find out y equals 21 over 4. Yeah, so that's what it is. So I didn't do it on this video, but on future ones, I might say, like, pause the video so that you can solve the thing, but I just went ahead and solved it for you this time. And I came up with this off the top of my head as I was making the other failed videos. So that's why it's such a weird thing, because I don't know how to think of one that will be coming out great. Alright, radicals. That's like the square roots. And if you have square root of 4, that is 2, remember? But in algebra, you say plus or minus 2, but in geometry, you just say 2. But keep in mind that it's also minus 2, plus or minus 2, because remember, if you did negative 2 squared, that's still 4. It's not negative 4. So keep that in mind in case you take Algebra 2 or maybe even in pre-calculus or calculus. There. So that's a perfect square, the ones that come out evenly. But if you don't have a perfect square, if you have something like square root of 48, you might be asked to solve it. And you probably remember this if you took Algebra 1. I think you probably have to be able to even take geometry. I don't know. So what you're going to do is you're going to find two numbers that multiplied to get you to 48. But here's the thing. You have to have one of the numbers that are a perfect square. You don't need both of them, but at least have one. And you want to try the biggest perfect square possible. Now, if you find out that the only thing possible is 1 and 48, which that's not for this one, but in some cases it might be only 1, that's the only perfect square that will work, well then you just have to leave it as that because it can't be simplified any further. But in this case, 16 is the biggest perfect square, and then you times 3. And 3 isn't a perfect square, but that's okay. You only need 1 to be perfect square. And then 16 square root is 4, and then you would put the 3 still under the square root because it can't be simplified. And that's your answer. That's what it is. You might remember that. And okay, then a harder example. How about 192? All right. So again, find a number that two numbers that multiply to 192. One of them has to be a square root. And it's okay if the number is smaller, but it would just take more steps. But try to find the biggest perfect square. And you might need a calculator. You can just say 192 divided by 81 or 64, and you find out 64 works. And how you know it works is that the answer, when you type in those, it's not a decimal. And the answer you would have got if you did that was 3. So square root of 64 is 8. And then you put the 3 there. Good. Done. That's the answer for that. Thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned for other videos that I'll try to make. But remember, I told you I'm still at Hall High School in Little Rock, Arkansas. And I still have other classes that I'm taking that I'll need to do things for. So don't expect one like every day, but every now and then I'll make one. Maybe I'll make one tomorrow. So you might be watching this the day I made it. If you see, it was published January 21st, 2020. It could be 2023. It could be 2030. Who knows if they even have YouTube then? I don't know. But anyways, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say keep watching and I will make more videos. Thank you for watching JNGL.